Welcome everybody to our Monday night. Today happens to be World Mental Health Day 2022. I didn't even know that. I got on my first call of the day today and it was a live and he was like, "It's World Mental Health Day. Let's do a live." And I was like, "How do I not know that?" Anyhow, World Health Organization says today it's all about mental health. It's all about mental health every single day here at inHarmony. We're not going to talk too much about that, but I do want to acknowledge that today and every day is a day we want to focus on mental health. We want to make sure that we're caring for those that are struggling with mental health. And really, the foundation for everything that we do here at inHarmony is focused around mental health and optimal human performance. I think the two of them go hand in hand. If you're struggling with mental health, you're obviously not performing optimally. So whatever we can do to help you to perform optimally, it's all about improving your mental health. I want to make sure that this talk does not focus on the topics that I usually cover. Resetting the nervous system, although we'll touch on it. Sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system response, although we'll touch on it. But I really want to make today about an introduction to inHarmony Interactive, all of the different things that we do, because through our Telegram channels, we get lots of different questions. Anna and I are only two people. We can only keep up with so much and get so much done every day. We are building, we are growing, we are expanding. I know we're improving every single day. And yet sometimes questions go unanswered, or better yet, new folks come on board and they don't know the other things we do, or they don't understand where things came from, or really what the background is. So today is really about getting to know inHarmony Interactive. We'll go into our history, where we came from. I live a very transparent life. I operate our business to be very transparent as well. When we make mistakes, as you all heard with Colin, we fix them. And I always want to make sure that I stand behind my products. And I think that's one of the things that really, gosh, it's just missing in the marketplace right now. We do a lot of marketing online. There's a lot of people that have questions or comments about how we operate this business. I see a lot of familiar faces on here. I know many of you are already our customers, so you know how we operate. But for those of you who don't, we're real people that drive this company. I reply to every single comment on social media. That is my fingers doing the typing on my phone. And it's something that I really take a lot of pride in. I am the face of this business. You probably won't see my business partner, Dom, all that often, although we'll talk briefly about him too. An incredible human being, by far the best business partner I've ever had, a friend, a family member, a brother. He and I are incredible. His family's incredible. And we're truly on a quest to make the world a better place. We're truly on a quest to help people feel their best and have a significant impact on how every single human on this planet operates day to day. Because we all get frazzled, we all need a break, and we all get thrown off our center. And if we don't have or take the right time to get back into our center, or if we don't have the tools to get back in our center, or if we're thrown so far away from our center that we're not sure how we're going to get back, sometimes we need tools and tips and guidance. And that's exactly what inHarmony Interactive and inHarmony Media is here for. So first, let me tell you a little bit, and I do have a little checklist here, so I make sure that we can touch on everything. I'd like to go about an hour and 20 or so, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, and then I want to open it up for questions. So I want you all to share. Feel free to turn your camera off and do other things while you're doing this. Feel free to pop off and hop back on, whatever you need. This is something that I want to do on a monthly basis. And your feedback, your questions, your comments through our Telegram channels, as well as through here, is going to help us to do just that. I'd like to change the locations every now and again. I'd like to have my tech behind me. So there's a few different things that we're going to do as we continue to grow and as we continue to build on this. So most people don't know that we've actually been doing this for 6 years. inHarmony Interactive has been around since September of 2020. However, before that, our company name was Holistic Health Science, a very clinical name, but we were making the same exact products. Our inHarmony Sound Lounge was called the Vassal Series 1. Vassal stood for Vibroacoustic Sound Lounge. Couldn't stand that name. I didn't like it when we did it then. I don't like it now. We had to move away from it. Holistic Health Science, as much as I love science and research, and many of you that I've spoken to know that I really love to dig into the science. However, Holistic Health Science is a super clinical name, and we knew we needed to change it. So here we are, inHarmony Interactive. Back in 2016, we began with the inHarmony Sound Lounge, or the Vassal Series 1 at the time. We began with 10 units. that came from our production house. We make and manufacture our technology down in Tijuana. We work with the most amazing manufacturer that we've worked with for the last 6 years. They are absolutely incredible. I love going down to Tijuana, and obviously having Dom in San Diego, it was very easy for us to go back and forth, to iterate, to innovate, to build, and to grow. Most of our operations are out of San Diego. We've got a third-party logistics warehouse. This is not something that's done out of a garage, certainly not anymore. This is something that is now done through a Shopify website and 14 or 15 different partners that help us to do what we do. And this is something that's only going to grow. We are on a hockey stick trajectory and very excited about what's happened really over the last 2 years, but really over the last six. Over the last 6 years, we have slowly and steady been talking about teaching, training, and educating around the efficacy of vibroacoustic therapy. We're going to talk about that, vibroacoustic therapy, here in just a moment. But I want to finish kind of sharing with you a little bit about the history. So Dominic Carnevale and myself are the two equity partners. We have a few folks that help us internally, the very spectacular Ana Fernanda Favela, whose face you'll see. She pretty much runs all of our operations. So anything that has to do with marketing, anything that has to do with manufacturing, logistics, Anna is the center spoke of our wheel and basically helps the world go round. She's the one that's replying to most of the support tickets, the help requests. She's kind of our first line of getting everything done. And as Anna will tell you, and Dom will echo, I don't know what we would do without Anna. She's absolutely spectacular, and she's in that center core role. In addition, we also have the very spectacular Anthony Weiss, who's our director of harmonics and runs inHarmony Media, creates the music that's in our app, which we're going to talk about in a few moments. The very spectacular Lynn Fisher, who introduced us to BrainTap and brought some strategic partnerships to us as well. So we have a nice little core team that kind of helps us with the day-to-day. And it's ultimately Anna, Dom, and myself that are bringing forward all of this technology, and Anthony that's bringing forward this incredible music and the incredible music meditations that we create. We've been doing this, like I said, for 6 years. So in November of 2016, we created the inHarmony Sound Lounge, 4 tactile transducers, a 300-watt amplifier. It's ergonomically designed, dual density foam. It is by far our Cadillac and the best ride, in my opinion. When we started to really find success with the inHarmony Sound Lounge, we wanted to create another product. So we went out to our existing client base and we said, hey, we want to create something new. We also went to a nice list of folks that didn't buy from us, and we asked them why they didn't buy from us. What did they want to see differently? We were doing a lot of market research to really figure out what our next iteration and innovation would look like. And that, of course, was the inHarmony Practitioner, which was born January of 2018. So about 2 years, about a year and a half after that, or a year and just a few months after that, we rolled out the inHarmony Practitioner. The inHarmony Practitioner has 2 transducers, a 100-watt amplifier, comes with a speaker, headphones, and is not designed to be a less expensive sound lounge. I think this is one of the biggest and most important identifiers for the inHarmony Practitioner, is that it was specifically designed to augment hands-on bodywork, massage therapy, chiropractic, acupuncture, acupressure, a variety of hand-on modalities with vibroacoustic therapy. So the difference between the sound lounge and the practitioner, while there is a price difference, the biggest difference is that the sound lounge is designed to be the main show. If you have clients, or if you yourself want to go and do a session and you want that full body expression, you're going to push play, put on the mask, put on the headphones, lay down and experience it, you want to invest in the sound lounge. If you're a body worker, massage therapist, got a face cut out, it's flat. We got a lot of different feedback as we were building into the inHarmony Practitioner that here's the feedback we got. They wanted something flat. They wanted something that was more portable. They wanted something that was lighter. They wanted something that had a face cutout that you could lay face down on. They wanted something that fit in a bag and could go over your shoulder, like super portable, which the sound lounge, while it's mobile and it does fold in half and the base folds in half, and I fit it in the back of my Prius with still seating for 5, it's still not as portable, obviously, as the Practitioner. The Practitioner doesn't come with a base. It goes designed to go on top of a massage table. It does come with a shoulder bag. It's also got wheels on it. The bag is actually really slick and quite beautiful. And the last piece of feedback, well, 2 things actually. They didn't want headphones. They were like, I work with my clients. I want to connect with my clients. I don't want them to be closed off and have headphones on. So give me a speaker. And the last thing was, they said, I don't need your music. At the time, we were selling 41 different music tracks, and we had pre-programmed an Amazon Fire and sent it out with the technology. They said, hey, keep your music. I have my own music. I want to use my own music. And hence the practitioner was born. So again, it's a much, in my opinion, I love the practitioner. It's super portable. I take it with me just about everywhere I drive and everywhere I go. It's great to just lay on the floor. It doesn't have to go on top of a massage table. It can go on a bed. It's really something that's really wonderful, just to kind of bring community together on a carpet or a rug. It's really quite beautiful. That's the practitioner, designed to augment body work. And by the way, I have the pleasure of getting body work on my practitioner twice a month, and it is absolutely epic. There is a future version of this where we do come out with inHarmony vibrational bodywork. It is already in the works. We are already starting to work on it. It's going to take probably a good year or so before the certification program to be completed. It's going to be a $5,000 or $6,000 certification. It's going to come with a practitioner. It's going to come with a MIDI player that also has with it specific music that plays specific frequencies for specific sequences of that bodywork that's being completed. So completely kind of revolutionizing what's happening there from a sound and vibrational bodywork perspective, and something that we're really excited about, and things that we're already laying the groundwork for and pulling together. It's something Anthony's really excited about. We have a number of different practitioners that are already jumping on board to help and support in the development of this. And then of course, to teach the certification courses as well. And these are folks that are focused on the body and are already doing body work and already very familiar with the human body, the different strokes, the different movements. You can tell just in the verbiage that I'm using that I'm not a body worker, but I'm very good at receiving body work, and I love it. And I'm super honored to be creating what we're creating with our practitioner mattress, particularly. Laying face down, I was actually quite blown away with each new design that we've come up with. The vibration and the vibratory experience hits the body in a different way. And laying down on the practitioner and having the vibration on your chest, it's pretty remarkable actually how much vibration the spine absorbs. And it's much more intense on the lungs, the heart, the organs, and the front of the body. It's really a wild experience. And I got to tell you, I turn the volume way down during my massages. So whereas the sound lounge, I might be up around 50 or 60% of its total volume, I might be down at 30, 35% of its total volume on the practitioner, just because it's not the main show. And I don't want to be distracted from the body work that's happening, but I do like the vibrations and the vibroacoustics. So the practitioner is amazing. In June of 2020, we rolled out an Indiegogo campaign for the inHarmony meditation cushion. And just about 2.5 weeks ago, we updated our website. We actually just got it awarded our full patent. It's a design patent for the inHarmony meditation cushion. We are now officially the only ones that will have that. And that design, that form factor, we're only going to continue building upon not just the meditation cushion, but all of our IP as we continue to innovate away from the marketplace, as we continue to grow, and we really continue to solidify ourselves as the leader in this particular space. And we can talk about what's going on in the vibroacoustic space. We could talk about the industry if that's something you guys want to talk about. Bring up those questions towards the end. I'm happy to have a very candid conversation about what's happening in the marketplace and where we differentiate. I didn't really get into my background, but I'm 20 plus years a business owner, a business operator, an entrepreneur. I have a formal background in marketing, psychology, communications. I love taking businesses from an idea on the back of a napkin and taking them to a point of where they're growing and either in a position to sell or in a position to be handed off to somebody to run, operate, and continue to grow. It's definitely a passion. It's at my core. And what I've noticed in doing this over and over and time again is that it's really about community. It's really about connecting and coming together with those that are around you, identifying and teaching your customers. You gotta keep in mind, if you ask 10 people on the street what vibroacoustic therapy is, 10 people on the street will probably look at you like, you what? Huh? What is that? So we are not only building a brand, we're also building a movement and teaching people around and about a technology and an industry that not many people know about. What I can tell you on this World Mental Health Day is that more people are walking around stressed, anxious, tired, overworked, exhausted, and stressed out. And this is really where, at the core, where our technology can help bring benefit to calm and relax the nervous system, to shift you from sympathetic to parasympathetic, and to put you in a place where you can handle the day-to-day struggles that are thrown at us every day. Every single person that's on this Zoom right now that's looking back at me, I know has hard days. Sometimes it's a string of hard days. Sometimes one day is way more hectic and stressful, like another, like my Monday and Tuesday are just like banana days. I'm like back to back phone calls. The weekend just ended. I'm getting caught up. I've got my family, my daughter, my wife, dinner plans, like things just happen on a routine. And if there's one thing that we've done really, really well as a collective, it's kept ourselves busy. We almost wear that busy badge on our shoulder as really something that we identify with. And we want to keep that calendar and that schedule jam packed. Got to work in some time to take care of yourself. Find some downtime. Like this afternoon, I went from 8 in the morning until, gosh, just about 3 o'clock on phone calls and Zooms. And then I went outside and I sat in the sun for a few minutes and got caught up on my phone, albeit I was still looking at a screen. But we had the Biomed Expo. Anthony Weiss, our director of harmonics, got married yesterday, or on Saturday rather. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we had nighttime events. We had the Biomed event. There's a lot going on. And all of us have these lives, whether it's we're a soccer mom or a soccer dad, or we're on the field, or we're a single parent, or we've got busy work and play, and we go without giving ourselves some time to just sit and relax and reset. And that could be meditation, it could be mindfulness, or it could be laying on the sound lounge and taking an opportunity to really reset the nervous system and get into that cool, calm, and collected space so that we can wind back up and do it all over again. Or I think one of the most powerful aspects of regular use of our technology is that you kind of stay even keeled in that cool, calm, and collected space. And it gives you an opportunity to really relax and really dig into whatever's happening, whatever the world throws at you. When you're stressed and anxious, whatever the world throws at you makes you more stressed and more anxious. When you're cool, calm, and collected, whatever the world throws at you, you're kind of making better decisions. You're a little bit more rational around how it's affecting you, and you're a little bit more focused on what that outcome is. A lot of times you can see the decisions you need to make more powerfully, stronger, with a better vision. And all of a sudden you could just handle that stuff that's thrown at you in a much better way. So our entire industry is focused around something called vibroacoustic therapy. It's the body of research that governs what we do, and it goes back to the late 1970s. A gentleman by the name of Olav Skill coined the phrase vibroacoustic therapy, and specifically, it is the study of frequencies in a range of about 30 hertz up to 120 hertz. So a very small frequency range. And I want to explain where that fits in. So the human ear has a frequency range of 20 hertz at the bottom, all the way up to 20,000 hertz at the top. 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Remember, vibroacoustic therapy, 30 hertz to 120 hertz. So we're really talking about the low end of that audible spectrum. And really anything below 100 hertz is really a feel, not hear. You can hear it, but really your body can feel it. And that vibroacoustic therapy frequency range of 30 to 120 hertz, just to put that in perspective, that subwoofer that you find in your home stereo system, that subwoofer is typically 80 hertz and below. And the power of these low level frequencies and vibrations is that it literally sends triggers to every muscle in your body, telling it to relax. The frequencies and the vibrations in the tactile transducers that we use literally send a signal to every muscle in your body, telling it to relax. And as the muscles relax, the nervous system starts to relax, and it triggers this chemical cascade that just brings on this cool, calm, and relaxed demeanor. This is the magic of our technology. So we can use all these fancy words, vibroacoustic therapy and tactile transducers. All we do is use sound and vibration to help calm and relax the body by giving you what is ultimately a really enjoyable experience. I mean, I think that's probably my most favorite aspect of our technology, is that it feels fantastic, and it is super soothing. It's full body, it's immersive, and it just takes you to another place. And that's what vibroacoustic therapy does. Now, there is a formal body of research, vibroacoustic therapy, and I am certified as a vibroacoustic therapy practitioner. And what that means is that I've dug into specific frequencies and their impact on our physiology. So when you talk to a formal vibroacoustic therapy practitioner like myself, and you're talking to them about what we do and the technology that we use, as Kate and I have had on many occasions, these discussions, vibroacoustic therapy practitioners tend to be a little bit more specific on the frequency they're using, the duration and the protocol, how often they're going to do sessions, and what condition they are working with. This is one thing you're not going to hear me talk about, certainly not on a live. I walk a very fine line to not use any words that are recognized by those three-letter agencies that govern and look at what we're doing. And I always want to make sure that I am walking the line, staying away from all of that, and that this is really about relaxation. However, when you get into formal vibroacoustic therapy, now all of a sudden you're talking about specific conditions and specific things that can be done with those conditions. And it's just not a conversation that we have out in the public. However, our technology in the hands of a trained professional can absolutely be used to work some pretty remarkable miracles on the human body. And it all comes down to regular usage, the right frequency for the right duration, mixed with recognized music or non-recognized music on a very specific protocol. And those protocols are already really well established. And we've got a really big network of folks that have these conversations and that are certified to use our technology in that manner. For everybody else, and for most people that are coming on, finding us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, that sort of thing, they might not know what that is, vibroacoustic therapy. They might not know what that background is, or some of you have found that terminology and have seeked it out. It's the same body of research that governs bowls, chimes, didgeridoos, all of these fantastic acoustic instruments that a yoga studio near you is probably offering as a one night or a weekly event or something like that. In fact, everywhere I go lately, I've been seeing sound healings that are happening on the beach. We were just in Encinitas. I think something like that happens in Southern California just about every day. And they were right there on the beach with crystal bowls, bells, chimes, and some really beautiful equipment for a sunset sound healing on the beach. We basically create a much more intense and amplified expression of those sounds and those frequencies against the body. And it's just that. I've taken a bowl, I've hit it, I've put it on my chest. It feels fantastic. The sound lounge is way more intense, right? That offering that we have in the tactile transducer that we utilize, it's a much more intense experience. And because of that, we can have a much more intense impact on our physiology. And that's a really big, I think that's a really big step. So we talked about vibroacoustic therapy. We talked about our technology, the sound lounge, the practitioner, the meditation cushion. I'll add this, the meditation cushion was an Indiegogo campaign. So this is something that I think really delineates us from a lot of the other folks that are out there, is that we are completely bootstrapped. We have no investors at this time. Instead, we have completely self-funded this business and built through sales, built through our supply chain, worked through everything that we needed to work through over the last 3 years of being in manufacturing and distribution, which has been an absolute nightmare for so many people. But Dom and I seem to have figured it out, along with Anna and the rest of our team. We really do have some of the most incredible partners. Our manufacturing groups in China and in Tijuana, our warehousing group in Vista, California, and everybody that helps us with logistics and distribution, from our shipping companies that we use, our courier services that we use. It's really remarkable what you can do when you have the right people in the right place doing the right things. And that's really where I think we've excelled. Our meditation cushion raise was certainly not what we wanted it to be. For those of you that have been around for a long time, you'll know that we launched our Indiegogo campaign on Blackout Tuesday. It was the Tuesday after George Floyd and everything happened in Minneapolis. It was just about the worst day that you could have launched an Indiegogo campaign. I see Rajay shaking her head. It was somewhat comical. We had so much built into that day, so much that we had set up. It was about a 60-day runway for us to build into that. And we wound up running it for a day or so, and then obviously taking down the campaign and all of our advertising and marketing. And then imagine searching through Instagram on Blackout Tuesday. We're a media company, inHarmony Media, right? And it's like blackout, 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 inHarmony ad, blackout, 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 inHarmony ad. It was really tough to watch. And obviously, everybody was out protesting and doing the things that they needed to do. And that was a beautiful place to be. But just a week before, everybody was sitting on their couch, home with pandemic money from the government, and all of our numbers looked really spectacular. And then, of course, that whole thing happened. So it was a very challenging time for us to launch. We were still able to get our first 1,000 units ordered. We were still able to bring that product to fruition, to get our app off the ground, to get inHarmony Media off the ground, and to really create a lot of the systems and processes, programs, and the platform that we use today to drive our technology. So still very grateful for that opportunity, and what we've been doing and what we've been able to do these past few years has really been something magical. So I talked a little bit about the tactile transducer. It'd be really smart if I had one here, but from the Biomed Expo, they're all still packed in my garage. I'll have one next month, but it's basically a disc with a magnet inside. That magnet is oscillating. We get a lot of questions about EMF, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. This tactile transducer basically works off of a low voltage electricity signal. And as the energy moves into the transducer, there's a magnet in it that's suspended between two springs. The more power you give it, the more gain you give it, the faster it vibrates. 20 oscillations, one back and forth is an oscillation. 20 oscillations is per second is a 20 hertz frequency. So it's really just the number of oscillations of that magnet per second is how we translate it into sound. The fact that the Sound Lounge, the meditation cushion, the practitioner has these tactile transducers that are playing the same frequencies as the music that's coming into your ears, either through built-in speakers or through headphones, that's what creates this three-dimensional, fully immersive experience. So in our skin, we have something called a mechanoreceptor. We actually have 3 different types of mechanoreceptors in our skin. It's what allows you to feel a breeze or changes in pressure in your skin, and it's a set of signals that gets sent to the brain. When you're listening to music and feeling vibrations, and those vibrations are the same frequency as what's going in your ears, your mind creates this 3-dimensional picture of sound. It's really one of the most magical aspects of our technology, and what is actually happening in your brain, and why it triggers this relaxation is the brain becomes overrun with sounds and frequencies, and this harmonious stimulation of signals that are coming to the brain through every mechanoreceptor in your skin and your auditory nerve. It creates this very immersive experience where the brain just kind of melts into the experience. And it is really something spectacular. I want to touch on EMF. There's absolutely electromagnetic frequencies in what we do. There's really no way for me to hide from it. And anybody who tells you in my space that there isn't EMF exposure to the body is flat out lying to you. Okay. Now, I happen to believe the benefits far outweigh the drawbacks. And this is really important. A parasympathetic nervous system response, cool, calm, and collected, is way better to handle any stimuli, any situation, than a sympathetic nervous system response. So if the opportunity was to not be exposed to electromagnetic fields and be in a sympathetic nervous system response, or be exposed to low-level electromagnetic fields and be cool, calm, and collected and parasympathetic, I would take this option every single time. There are things that you can do if you're sensitive and if you're concerned about this, and that is picking up Faraday material. So if you're not familiar with Faraday cage is an electromagnetic cage that you can get inside, and there are no electromagnetic fields that can pierce through it. It's like a force field around you. And they make these materials that are woven with silver and copper. And if you've got questions, send us an email, support@inHarmony.com, and we'd be more than happy to share with you these resources. Now, what some of our customers have done, and it's absolutely spectacular, is they'll buy for, I don't even know, I think it's $40 or $50, a long enough sheet that you could put over the Sound Lounge, over the meditation cushion, again, to block the electromagnetic fields from your body and separate you from just the electromagnetic fields, not the vibration. The vibration still goes through that Faraday sheet. Copper and silver work really, really well. Again, if you have questions about that, if you're sensitive to electromagnetic fields, hopefully you're not on this webinar, which is watching it on a screen that is giving off an electromagnetic signal, or on a phone that's obviously giving off some radiation. Again, this is the world that we live in right now. It is very unfortunate. And it's one of the things that I absolutely loved about living in a motorhome is that aside from the generator and the 12 volts of electricity that's flowing through the batteries and the cab, I could drive off into the middle of nowhere and get out of these major cities. I'm in Las Vegas right now. The city is built on lights. There's a ton of electricity in this valley. There's a lot of energy in this valley. And as I look just around the screen, y'all are in beautiful homes with walls and lights and electrical sockets. And this is the world that we live in. So for me, I would much rather be in a parasympathetic nervous system response and have access to this technology than not. Dom and I have had long conversations around what it would take to completely zero out the EMF. And unfortunately, the best thing that we can recommend is that you pick up one of those sheets and put it over your technology. It doesn't change the experience at all. The only thing it does is remove those electromagnetic fields. So I highly recommend that that's the case. If you're super sensitive, and a lot of people are coming up being sensitive. So interestingly enough, if you're exposed to electromagnetic fields and it's not agreeing with you, you could show up with a headache, with brain fog, dizziness in really bad cases, vertigo, situations where your balance is just off. There's a lot that can show up from a symptomatic standpoint that happens every day, and we don't know why, and we just go to the doctor thinking that we're trying to figure out what's going on, and it's actually that EMF that's really affecting it. So believe you me, I can appreciate that there is a potential issue for some people, and yet this technology at the very root, the transducers are activated by low-level electrical signals. So the very nature of this technology is that it is going to have an electromagnetic signature, and the best way is to put something on top of it. So the tactile transducer and three-dimensional immersive sound, it works with speakers, it works with headphones. Don't get that confused with binaural beats. Binaural beats do require headphones. It's a different frequency in your left ear and right ear within 10 hertz of each other. The brain, left hemisphere, right hemisphere, then creates a third resonant frequency, and that frequency is what balances the left and the right hemisphere of your brain. Really powerful technology. We don't use it in our regular inHarmony original music tracks. They are included in the BrainTap tracks as well. What you can listen to through our tech. So our sound lounge has 4 tactile transducers, and they are all wired in series. This is really important because this is how we start to delineate from some of the folks that are in our space. All 4 of those transducers are wired together. All 4 of those transducers are playing the same frequency at the same time. This is really important. They're wired in series. If they were wired independently, that would mean that we would need to redo all of our music and produce every track that's played through it. As you look back in history, through all of time, the low-end frequencies in music is always one channel. We're familiar with stereo, left and right. That's why we have those red plugs, red and white plugs. They're called RCA, and that's left and right. Some of us might remember when Dolby Digital came out 20, 25 years ago, and it was 5.1 surround sound. The 5 represents all of the high frequency speakers, a center channel, a front right, front left, and a rear front, rear left. That created that surround sound feeling for you. Then they came out with 7.1 surround sound, and that just added 2 more speakers on the side. That gave you 7.1. The 0.1 is bass. And that's that subwoofer that you can put anywhere in the room because low-end frequency is not directional. So you don't need it to be surround sound. The subwoofer can be over there and it just fills the whole room with low-end frequency. For this purpose, we wired everything in series so that you can listen to anything you want through the sound lounge. And let me tell you, I've tested a lot of music in my 6 years of having access to this technology, and just about everything sounds amazing through the sound lounge. Whatever genre of music it is that you like, I highly recommend connecting your phone to your sound lounge or your meditation cushion, your practitioner, and listening to it. Whether it's gospel, whether it's specific to your background or your culture, whether it's reggae or hip hop or house music, Dark Side of the Moon from start to finish sounds amazing. Watching movies on it is incredible, right? This is an immersive experience that puts you inside of whatever you're listening to. Now, not everything will sound great through the sound lounge. In that, think classical music, higher frequencies. not going to activate the transducer, not going to give you that low end frequency response that you're looking for. The best thing to play through our technology is our music in our app. Every track that's in there is going to be approved to offer you the music meditation impact that we're looking for. So in our app, and we're going to talk about our app, we're going to talk about our music, that all of that music is made specifically for our technology, and it's obviously going to be the best and the most therapeutic. However, if you like rock and roll, put on rock and roll. If you like heavy metal, I've got a guy I was doing a demo for at One Love Festival. It's going back 4 or 5 years ago. In fact, it's not a guy, it's a gentleman, name is Patengo, and I get rings from him, and he's one of the most incredible individuals. I put him on a track, and he kind of got off, and he was like, cool tech, music was okay. And I said, okay, well, what kind of music do you like? And he goes, you have any Rage Against the Machine? And I said, I don't. It's not really part of my growth. I used to love it when I was a kid, but like, no, I don't have it. He goes, I go, you have it on your phone? He goes, yeah. I go get your phone. He went and got his phone. I can't even say the name of the track that he played, but it was pretty aggressive and pretty vulgar. And the smile that was on his face was ear to ear. And after 2.5 minutes, he got off it and he went, you need to listen to that. And I listened to it, and it brought me right back to snowboarding, and because I used to snowboard with that on, and it was the most his voice and that bass guitar was basically made for the sound lounge, and just being surrounded by his voice between the Sennheiser headphones and the sound lounge, it was a fully immersive, incredible experience. Now, for him, our music wasn't that therapeutic, but Rage Against the Machine was. So I share that with you because there's so many different applications, and we specifically made sure that you can listen to anything through our sound lounge. And bass guitars sound amazing, kick drums sound amazing, long drawn out bass notes sound absolutely amazing, bass music sounds absolutely incredible through our music, through our tech. This is the stuff that gets me really excited because we're all different. We all like different things. Finding the things that we like, well, we already know from our life, try that and experiment with that through the sound lounge. So you can listen to anything, but again, our music meditation, inHarmony music meditation app is really where it's at. And I want to talk about our music, and I want to talk about what's in there. And we get so many questions around, what track should I listen to for this? What track should I listen to for that? And my answer is always the same. All of them, any of them. They will all help with whatever ailment and issue you're looking for without me saying any of those ailments or issues, because it's all designed to reset your nervous system. And when your nervous system is reset, when you're cool, calm, and collected, when you're in that parasympathetic, your body acts the way it's supposed to act. 4 things that happen when you're in a sympathetic nervous system response. Adrenaline and cortisol are flowing through your bones, through your bloodstream. Your body is sending triggers to your nervous system, telling it to turn off digestion, turn off your immune system, and turn off rational thinking in your brain. Okay, so these 4 things basically set you up for disaster day to day. It's good for a short period of time if you've got, to fight something or do something or something that's really intense, but that sympathetic nervous system response simply leaves you ill-prepared to handle the day-to-day challenges. So when you're stressed, when you're anxious, when you're dealing with issues that have to do with overwhelm and that sort of thing, getting on your sound lounge and listening to any of our music that's in there, pick one that you like, right? Now, they do have specific intentions around them. 174, 285, 396, 417. If you look inside our app, they all have a scrolling title that gives you a little bit about what each one of those is for. 174, 285, and 396 have to do with the root chakra. If you look at the tiles in our inHarmony original music, they are the color of the corresponding chakra. That is very specific. We never taught that. I still haven't recorded the videos that Anna and I said we were going to record probably 2 months ago, walking people through the app and talking about our tech. So there's going to be some videos that will come out about this that we'll put up on YouTube and we'll put onto our Get Started guide. There's absolutely specific nuances to the tracks. However, there's no one that's going to be better for anxiety in general. Instead, whatever one you gravitate towards that you like and you enjoy is going to help you to relax your body. I have my favorites. I love 639. I love 963. I love 741. I love them all, actually. It's like asking me my favorite child. There is none. They're all amazing. But like my go-to, 639, 22, or 33 minutes. If I have the Brain Tap headset on, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, and we're gonna then I'm gonna hop into alpha or theta if it's the middle of the day, delta if it's super late into the evening, gamma if it's mid-afternoon or early afternoon, mid-morning. Gamma is very stimulating. SMR if I'm tired and need like a little jump. There's a lot of value in that BrainTap headset and the different brainwave states, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. But inHarmony original music, we started with these solfeggio frequencies. You can search the solfeggio frequencies as well. Solfeggio is SOLFFEGIO, solfeggio. And these frequencies are very well known, and there's a ton of research out there on them that you can look up on your own that I can't put in the app, so I don't make claims. This is a very fine line that we walk. And I will continue to get you guys great information, but I would also make sure as we grow that I don't get any eyeballs on me and that I'm not responsible for taking down an entire industry like a lot of our competitors are potentially doing. And it's absolutely a concern with some of these claims that are being made. So I will be releasing videos that are going to show you how to navigate the app, that are going to talk through. It's really straightforward. It's a music player. You'll find a filter in the top right corner. You'll find a menu item on the left-hand side. The app is designed to run offline. We get that question a lot. You can run it in airplane mode if you're concerned about Wi-Fi and that sort of thing. There's an ability for you to download each track inside the app. So when you push the tile and you're about to push play at the bottom, you'll see a download button in the top right. When that track is downloaded, it gets downloaded inside the app. And when it's downloaded, instead of it going out to stream the track, it just goes off of your phone, and therefore you can run it in airplane mode. You can start the app and open the app in airplane mode. And if you're in airplane mode, it's going to take you straight to the download screen. We're adding a search bar to the top of that download screen and to the favorite screen so that you can search for a track that you're looking for. However, all of the tracks that you've already downloaded will drift to the top. Unfortunately, they're not in the greatest order, so we'll add a sort feature there eventually as well. We're also working on a repeat feature. We're also working on a playlist feature. So there's a lot that's going to be going into this app to continue to grow, to continue to get better. But as of right now, there's close to 220 tracks that you can choose from in there. So what is BrainTap? BrainTap is an incredible partnership that we have with a company that's been around for 20 plus years. BrainTap is all about brain fitness. It's all about brainwave entrainment and brainwave entertainment. So these fabulous brains that we have, and the name BrainTap, by the way, it's all about tapping into your brain's full potential. It's a very clever name. And it's all about fitness, physical fitness for the brain. So we know how important it is to go to the gym to work out our physical bodies. It's just as important for us to work out our brains. And when I say work out your brain, many of you are going to think about the crossword puzzles that your grandmother or grandfather used to do. I certainly do. Unfortunately, these puzzles, Sudoku, they don't do anything to help our brain. I see some shaking heads there. They don't do anything to help our brain. Okay, now, learning a new language, absolutely. Picking up a new instrument and learning how to do a new instrument, absolutely. These are expanding on neuroplasticity. This is increasing on identifying new neural pathways, new connections in the brain, how the brain connects one to another. Think of the BrainTap as exercise for the brain in expanding neuroplasticity and creating new neural pathways, and doing so on a regular basis. Our brains are constantly looking for patterns. Our brains are constantly looking to learn. I love how Dom wants to call me. Hi, Dom. During a live that he knows I'm on. It's remarkable, but we got lots of important things to talk about. But anyhow, Dom, I'm going to call you back. So these new neural pathways that are being identified and designed, our brain is constantly learning. Either you're teaching your brain good habits or it's learning bad habits. If you're not actively teaching your brain good habits, it's picking up on whatever you're giving it, whatever you're doing. And most of us, that's not positive stuff. Not that we're all doing bad stuff, but just that we're teaching our brain poor patterns. And our brain's constantly looking for different patterns. So as you reach for myself, as I reach for cookies after a meal, that's a pattern that my brain has been trained over 40 plus years. It runs in my entire family. My wife, when she got together with us, I've been with my wife for 15 years. She's like, you and your whole family, you just reach for sweets right after the meal. Now, she's Turkish, so they reach for black tea and coffee. Some of it has sugar in it. But nonetheless, they wait a good 45 minutes to an hour after they eat. You can find me and my father in the kitchen, raiding the pantry, right after the last morsel goes in the mouth, I always have room for dessert, and I'm always going. That's a pattern and a condition that I have trained my brain for, and I'm pretty excited about the fact that the brain tap is helping to rewire and break those patterns. So the brain tap, the magic of brain tap is in the music that we've co-created together and signaling that's included in the music. So we give them our inHarmony original music that Anthony and our other composers have created, and they then put encoding on top of it. The encoding activates the visor that's going over the head. They activate it to entrain the brain into alpha, theta, delta, gamma, or SMR. And they put also 10 cyclosynchronic tones and binaural beats and a couple of other things into the music. So you'll hear in the music this sound. It's almost like a, your brain is actually entraining that audio signal. That pace is, if it's an alpha brainwave state, that pace is somewhere between 8 and 12 hertz, 8 and 12 cycles per second, right? Your brain is picking up on that, just like we started to talk about. So those brainwave states, we're in a beta, eyes open. I'm a very visual person, right? So let's say these 5 are the different brainwave states. Eyes open, processing the world around you like you are hopefully right now. You're in beta. Directly below that is alpha, below that is theta, below that is delta. Above all of it is gamma. Gamma is associated with higher states of consciousness. Beta, eyes open, processing the world around you. Alpha is like a daydreamy state. It's where creativity begins. It's where rejuvenation begins. Theta is where we are during rapid eye movement sleep. Theta is where creativity happens. It's where that deep meditative state, it's where we are when we're dreaming. Delta, cellular rejuvenation happens in a delta brainwave state. It is the deepest brainwave state, obviously. And if you ever tried to move a friend and they're just passed out, it's like moving dead weight. They're in a delta brainwave state. No motor skills in delta and no senses in delta. So you're really not processing the outside world. You are very much hibernating and very much out of it. If your alarm goes off in the morning, because you wake up every day at 7:30, regardless of what time you go to sleep, you might be waking up in the bottom of a sleep cycle in a delta or theta brainwave state, and you wake up feeling groggy. If you wake up when you're coming back out and back into beta or alpha, high alpha, you wake up almost like if you've ever opened your eyes right before the alarm clock goes off. Like I'll set my alarm clock for 6:15, and at like 6:13, I'll just like roll over and like glance and like grab my phone and be like, oh, it's 6:13. 2 more minutes. No, you keep your eyes open and you just wake up and you have yourself a great morning. Your alarm goes off, dragging you out of a delta brainwave or a theta brainwave state, and you're feeling a little groggy. You need an extra cup of coffee. You got to take that cold water and splash it on your face. And it takes a little bit of time for your brain to get going and come back up into that beta brainwave state. So the brain tap really helps you to move in and out of these different brainwave states and to teach your brain how to do that. Now, the magic of what we've done is that we've given our tracks to BrainTap, and they have encoded 11, 22, 33, and now they're starting to encode 66 minutes with alpha, theta, delta, and gamma brainwave entrainment. There's a lot of flexibility and there's a lot that you can do. Here's what I recommend. Start with alpha. Do 3 sessions in alpha, 11 minutes, 22 minutes, 33 minutes, whatever, but teach the brain how to move from beta into alpha. Beta, alpha, beta, alpha, beta, alpha, and then throw in theta, beta, alpha, theta, alpha, theta, alpha, theta, and bounce back and forth between different theta and alpha tracks. I really reserve delta for the end of the night, right before I go to sleep. It's literally such a deep brainwave that I really don't get any value. It just feels uncomfortable when I go there in the middle of the day, unless I'm exhausted and completely depleted. My daughter was up screaming. Her room is right behind me. My daughter was up all night. She had bad dreams, whatever it was. I had one of those rough nights. That morning, I might get her off and then drop in for a 33-minute delta just to reset and give my body the rest and rejuvenation that it needs to dive into that deep state. Otherwise, I really reserve delta for right before bed, like within 30 minutes of sleep. Gamma, I save gamma for the end of the morning, early morning, really mid-morning, late morning to early afternoon, the middle of the day. Gamma is very stimulating, and it can absolutely stimulate lots of thoughts and lots of connections to other people too. I find I do a lot of lucid dreaming in that gamma state. And it's really like a daydreamy state of a lot of astral projection, a lot of traveling happens for me in that alpha state. We just finished 66 minutes in gamma. And we did that specifically first because we have a number of ketamine clinics that we work with, and they're doing hour-long ketamine IVs using gamma in particular. Very, very powerful. I could tell you 963 in gamma for 66 minutes is a journey all with itself. No medicine necessary. I absolutely love that expression and that experience. So the Music Meditations app, Solfeggio Frequencies, Brain Tap, the Cocoon experience is merely merging the Brain Tap headset with the Sound Lounge, the Practitioner, or the meditation cushion. You do not need the Brain Tap headset. I'll repeat, you do not need the Brain Tap headset to use inHarmony technology. inHarmony tech by itself is absolutely incredible. Brain Tap by itself is absolutely incredible. The two of them together is wow. It's a 1 + 1 = 3 kind of scenario. I love Dr. Patrick Porter. I love what we're doing with them. We're going to continue to grow. You might see some shifts and see how things are displayed because both of us are growing and growing very quickly. However, I'm a huge proponent of the Brain Tap. I'm a huge proponent of our technologies together. And I have a lot of gratitude and appreciation for Dr. Patrick Porter, his brother Michael, who's their national education director, and what they're doing with the neural check, which is heart rate variability. You're going to start to see that made available as well. And there's just some really wild things that are happening there. Those brainwave states and that Brain Tap music, you can absolutely use without the headset. Because there's encoding in the track that is also audible, you can lay on the Sound Lounge without the Brain Tap headset and entrain your brain in alpha, theta, delta, or gamma. You can still use the tracks that we co-created in order to gain that benefit. You can do it on the meditation cushion with regular headphones, and I do recommend using headphones with the Brain Tap tracks. You can do it on the Practitioner as well. So it is fully interchangeable. And obviously, if you have the Brain Tap headset, only the Brain Tap tracks are going to activate the visor that's coming in front of you. It needs the encoding in it to activate that visor and to get things going. All right. I want to talk a little bit about inHarmony best practices. I want to talk a little bit about troubleshooting. I want to talk a little bit about some gratitude and some patience that I have for our inHarmony practitioner owners for the last, gosh, I think 4 months. I changed the amp on you, and I have not even found the time to record the video that I want to record showing you how to use the new amp. So I've talked to just about every single practitioner owner, explaining to them that there's a new amp and a new connection. It's much easier now. It's not like what you're going to find on the Get Started guide, but that's another conversation. So best practices, the first things first, always make sure that our app and the input music player device is at 100%. This is the most important aspect. I know unity level is 70, 75%. That's like the perfect output. But we want the full signal to be sent to our amplifiers. And all you do is turn down the volume on the amplifier to lower the vibration or lower the sound. You need to send the full signal to the technology and let our amplifiers. It's probably one of the easiest fixes. And when somebody calls me and they say, hey, I have no vibration. And I go, well, is the volume at 100%? And they go, no, it isn't. Now, Android and Apple like to protect your ears. They like to decrease the volume, and they'll drop it down to 80 or 70%. And in some cases, that can completely wipe out the vibration from your technology completely. You'll still hear a faint audio signal, but you won't get the full maximum vibration. So I push play on a track, and then the last thing that I do is just raise the volume and hit the up volume on the side of my iPhone or my tablet and get things rolling. Use DND. Use Do Not Disturb. We built an iPhone app. We did not build an iPad app. For those of you in the Apple world, iOS is iPhone operating system. iPad OS is iPad operating system. They are not interchangeable, although iPads can play iOS apps, which is why you can still use our technology. So even though it isn't developed for the iPad, it should still work on the iPad. It does take a newer iPad. The iPads can be a little glitchy. At some point, we will have an iPad app. But as of right now, just available on iOS. Android does not delineate between a tablet and an Android phone. So if you're going to buy a tablet specifically to use with your inHarmony technology, I highly recommend the Android tablets. And I'm an Apple everything guy. Apple Watch, AirPods, which I lost yesterday. Thanks, Mom. And it's like my third pair. It's kind of silly. but an iPhone kind of guy. If you are going to buy a tablet, I highly recommend getting an Android tablet. It's really wonderful. All right, static. We get phone calls a lot about static in the headphones or static on the line. This is something that is one of two things. The first is that it could be a dirty connection port. So you literally have dust that can get into the connections if you're plugging and unplugging, moving, and if there's any dust that's inside that connection, literally like a Nintendo cartridge, just blow it out and hopefully things come out. If you really want to get in there, you can take a Q-tip and just lightly dampen it. I'm talking not dripping wet, but just like almost like lick your fingers and then touch the tip of the Q-tip and put that into every connection port, including the connection port on your phone if you're using a headphone out. Again, the littlest piece of dust could actually cause some distortion or some static on the line. More often than not, though, it is dirty electricity. Here's the challenge. Electricity does have a 60 hertz hum to it. When you're listening to it in your headphones, that could actually sound like static on the line. And here's what you need to do. Most of the time that happens when I have the iPhone that is playing the music or my Galaxy Tab that's playing out there. When I have the Brain Tap plugged in and I have the tablet that I'm using plugged in, sometimes I will get static on the line. The fix is to unplug either the Brain Tap, which has a battery in it that lasts a couple hours, so you can easily do a 66-minute session and then plug it back in, or unplug the tablet, which also has a battery inside. So when you're specifically connected to that USB charger, if I'm using the same charger on the same outlet, I'll get static. I'll even get static sometimes if I'm using different outlets. The fix is to simply unplug it. You might get static on the Sennheiser headphones, which don't have a battery, which obviously you need to leave plugged in. But when there's static on the line, simply unplugging the tablet that's driving it will remove that sound and that vibration. So this is really big because we get this question a lot. Now, it's also not consistent. I wish I could tell you that it was consistent. But like we were just at an event over the weekend at the Biomed Expo, and every morning when I come in, I obviously test to make sure there's no static on it. And by Sunday, I checked in the morning, and when I put on the headphones to check the experience, there was static on the line, and I had to unplug the tablet that we were using, and the static goes away. So dirty electricity is a thing. A surge protector or a power conditioner can help. However, it does not help with a USB plug. So most of the time when there's static on the line, unplug the tablet that you're using. Sound from one ear of the headphones is one of two things. Either the headphones are broken, which is possible from throwing them, putting them down, a line broke, or that dirty connector most of the time. So what most people don't realize is when you look at the connector on a set of headphones, there's two black lines that are going around it. Those two black lines are actually left and right. If there's dust on one of those on the connector port, it's not going to work and you're not going to get a signal. So again, just licking it or cleaning it or wiping it down will actually help. Well, I love how the smiles come out when I say lick anyway, but that's how that goes. So make sure that the connections are clean, and that's going to help the left and the right ear. You're covered on a 2-year warranty, parts and service. We stand behind our product. Many of you know if you have had issues, there aren't many, but when they do come up, reach out to us, ask the questions. You guys lead busy lives. We want to be there for you. By the way, when you call our 800 number, this is the phone that rings. Anna's phone rings at the same time. I love answering my phone after hours. I love answering my phone on the weekends. If you're with the tech and you're having an issue, pick up the phone and call us. Don't wait until Monday morning when you're now at work and not with the technology. I had this problem over the weekend. If you're having technical problems, call me, text me, put a post in the Telegram group and say, hey, does anybody else have this issue? We have an amazing community made up of incredible humans that are like-minded, just like you. So take the time to reach out. That Telegram group is really powerful. If you're not in it, send us an email and we'll make sure we get you into that. So that's sound. No vibration. Let's talk about no vibration because there's two scenarios. No vibration with sound coming out of the headphones and no vibration with no sound coming out of the headphones. And they all typically mean something different. The Sound Lounge setup and the practitioner setup that we have right now, the input goes into the headphone amplifier. If, as long as the input is going into that headphone amp and it's good, you'll always have sound coming out of the headphones, but you might not have vibration if there's an issue with the Sound Lounge amp, one of the connections between the headphone amp and the Sound Lounge, or the Sound Lounge amp and the Sound Lounge itself. It's just a matter of figuring out what that might be, what might be unplugged. I can't even tell you how many times somebody will tell me that it just wasn't pushed in all the way. They thought it was plugged in, but it wasn't. So 9 times out of 10, no vibration with sound coming out of the headphones is something related to the connection. There's also a little switch on the back of the Sound Lounge amplifier that you can look to make sure is either on or on auto or on or music, depending on the amp you have. So there's a couple different things that are going on there as well. But regardless, if you have any issues, if it's not giving you the same experience it gave you last week, shoot us an email, or better yet, post in the Telegram group, send us a video to show us what's happening. We can depict a lot from a video. A lot of times I can see when something isn't plugged in all the way in a video. So reach out to us and mention what's going on. I love that my daughter is literally screaming on the other side of that room, right on the other side of that door right now. All right, so we went through some troubleshooting and some best practices. Use DND, use do not disturb, no vibration, no sound. We went through some Cocoon best practices. I will tell you this, when you're using that BrainTap headset, everything needs to be hardwired. BrainTap does have Bluetooth. Let's talk about Bluetooth for a second, because we get that question too. People are like, can I use Bluetooth headphones with my technology? And the answer is no, you cannot. And that was a very conscious decision that we made in doing that. There are adapters for it. You can add that. There might be a Sound Lounge in the very, very long distant future that does use Bluetooth, but here's why we don't use Bluetooth, and it's a very specific reason. Bluetooth technology, and it's not what it does to your brain, although that's obviously an issue potentially. Bluetooth inherently has a 30 millisecond delay built into the technology. When you're looking at hardwired technology, it's an analog signal. In order to be sent over the airways, it needs to be converted from analog to digital, and that takes about 15 milliseconds. Then it gets sent 30 feet. That takes a split second. Then it needs to be converted back from the digital signal into an analog signal so that it can be played through the driver. That means there's 15 millisecond delay on either side. That's a 30 millisecond delay. So if we were to use Bluetooth headphones, that would mean the transducer, which is hardwired to the amplifier, would be 30 milliseconds ahead the sound that you're hearing in the Bluetooth headphones. While you might not be able to pick up on it, your brain will absolutely pick up on it, and it will be disharmonic. And that's not the name of the company. The company is inHarmony. We want your brain, your body to all be in one unified signal, so we don't use Bluetooth. The BrainTap headset does have Bluetooth, and there are plenty of times where I connect the headset directly to my phone when I'm laying in bed, when I'm traveling, when I'm on the plane. However, when you're using it with our technology, the BrainTap or your headphones must be hardwired to the technology through the headphone port on the amplifier, on the meditation cushion, or through the headphone port on the Sound Lounge or Practitioner headphone amplifier. It has to be hardwired, and we send you the cables and the connections to do this. BrainTap includes a cable in it for the meditation cushion, so it's really important that you note this. There are adapters that you can get. You can augment it, but again, because there's that millisecond delay, 30 millisecond delay, I really don't recommend doing it. Most high-end Bluetooth headphones, the Bose, the Apple, that sort of thing, they all have a plug. So just hardwire as a backup and utilize those. Sometimes the pairing can be a pain in the backside too, whereas the Bluetooth in the BrainTap wants to connect to the amplifier. It's not connected to your phone. So best practice is to just delete that known connection from the phone that you're using. We chose for you to connect your phone to the meditation cushion via Bluetooth. The Sound Lounge and the Practitioner all do not have Bluetooth. Everything is hardwired, and we send you all the connections and the cables to connect your phone. We even now include the dongle that you need for USB-C or for the Lightning as well. So these are some really big things when it comes to troubleshooting and best practices, and we're going to slice and dice this video up, and we're going to put this out as well. Some resources that you have, and then we'll get into some Q&A. Our Telegram community for our user group. When you received, if you put an email address in when you made your purchase, you got a series of follow-up emails that automatically arrived in your inbox. One of those was an invite to our Telegram group. If you only put in a phone number and you didn't put in an email address, you didn't get any of that. And it's one of the things that we need to work through. And we will be adding SMS notifications so that we're guiding people where to go from, because it just occurred to us just a few weeks ago that if you didn't put in an email address, we can't communicate with you and we can't tell you what's going on after a sale, or after a purchase. Our Telegram groups are unbelievable. So if you're a user of our technology, we invite you to a private user group on Telegram. And if you're one of our affiliates, we invite you to, and part of the program is that you stay active in an affiliate Telegram group. And there's lots of amazing chatter. When you join, you can scroll back and you can see the history. You can search links. You can search media that we've shared. There's so many amazing resources that are included in there. The Get Started pages are your best frontline for how to set up the tech. And we will have some new videos going up for the practitioner. Thank you again for your patience. And we constantly add new videos. As we get questions, we update our FAQ, and then we make a video and we edit it and we post it up on the Get Started guide. We do have 2 user manuals. Those user manuals are completely digital. I don't believe in paper. I don't like wasting paper. We send a QR code and we send a sticker included in our packaging, and that QR code takes you to the Get Started guide where you can register your warranty and you can click on specific pages specifically for your technology. Our YouTube channel is a powerful outlet for you. There's a ton of videos that we've put up there, some playlists that we've been playing with and working through, and then of course our weekly lives that we do every Tuesday. Just about every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, I go live. We're going to start doing this on the second Monday at 5 p.m. each month, so you can come here and learn and hear. It will be similar information, but there's always new nuances that are thrown in here. And this will be a great opportunity for you to learn a little bit about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So that's basically everything that I wanted to go through. I thank each and every one of you for sticking around for a while. And what I want to do now, if it's okay with you, is I'll remove the spotlight. And should we do this with a recording or not? Is there a show of hands? Should we do this? I only see a couple people with their screens on, but y'all let me know if you have a question that you want recorded. And if you don't think it's going to be beneficial, or if you don't want it recorded, just wait until I turn the recording off, and I'll give you an opportunity to ask a question without the recordings on. So anything I didn't touch on, or anything you want me to dive in deeper, anything you want me to repeat, or anything you think that was exciting for other people to hear about, just unmute and say hi. Hi, Leah.
Hello.
Hi. Were you just saying hello, or do you have a question?
Nope, I was just saying hello.
Well, hi. It's really nice to see you. Cool. Anybody else have any questions? There's a bunch of people that are on this live. Anybody have any questions? No questions. Okay, well, thank you.
Actually, wait, do you have any adverse effects of people coming off the table?
Not really. Look, there are certain situations and certain scenarios where you want to be careful. This is a great question. Actually needs to be added to my notes here so that I make sure we add that. Adverse reactions. Okay, so there's a few things that you want to look out for. The first is any open wounds. So recent surgery, when you've got a hole in your skin, or a lesion, or staples, or stitches, or something to that effect, you obviously don't want to use vibroacoustic therapy, which is shaking every cell in your body and shaking your skin. It will help to tear that apart instead of allowing it to heal. So you want to be cautious of open lesions. Look, a mosquito bite, something like that, I'm not really worried about. And I certainly get my fair share of mosquito bites. They love my blood. And I get on the Sound Lounge, no worries at all. But if you have like a lesion or a cut, or something that just had stitches or staples, you want to be cautious about. Certainly moms after a C-section, right? Like, you want the body to heal first, and then you want to use vibroacoustic therapy. There are certain situations where with an open lesion, you can turn the vibration down very low, like very, very low, and that might be okay. Again, that's going to be a decision to decision, right? Person to person. The other thing I'd be careful of is anybody that is in an active psychotic break. Anybody that is not themselves and actively, especially on this mental health day, in the middle of a psychotic episode. Not an ideal time to separate that brain from their body, not an ideal time to take them to higher realms of consciousness. They, quite the opposite, need to be grounded into their body. We do quite a bit of work in behavioral health space. We do quite a bit of work in working with people with different therapies as well as mental health in different states. However, you want to be very careful when somebody is having an active psychotic break, and you want to make sure that you're just using care. And there are ways to use the technology that can help and support. However, a fully immersive, eyes closed, headphones on sound lounge session probably isn't ideal, although there might be certain situations where it is. Active psychotic break. Anybody that's having an active, agitated, inflammatory response, you want to be careful with, right? So if arthritis and these types of things are actively spiking, you want to be cautious, because shaking every cell in your body could actually agitate. Could, I say could, not always. And there might be certain situations where it can be very helpful. However, if you have an active inflammatory response, you might want to use lower volume. You might want to ease into that session. Pregnant women, there is no research with pregnant women and vibroacoustic therapy. Frankly, there's not a lot of research on pregnant women and any type of modality, because the risk far outweighs the reward. Losing a fetus, losing a baby because of a particular modality. Here's what I can tell you. My wife used our tech straight through her pregnancy. My daughter, after 1 week of being born, was laying on the sound lounge. I did pick her head up off the sound lounge, made sure my hand wasn't touching the sound lounge as well. She was having like a freak out moment at 1 year. We went through the checklist, the diaper, the food, the bottle, right? We went through everything, and she was still not feeling it. I put her on the sound lounge, and I tell you, within 10 seconds, she was like just looking back at me like with the eyes of wonder. So there's definitely a time and a place. In any high risk, pacemakers are okay. But again, certain situations where you have a pacemaker have other outlying conditions where you might want to consult the doctor, and you might want to consult your physician. And I highly recommend that you do so. This is not medical advice. I'm not here to treat, cure, all the things. So here's what I would tell you. In any of those high risk conditions exist, if any of those high risk conditions exist, use caution and start with low vibration. That's the key. The power of our technology is that you can lower the volume of the headphones and you can lower the vibration in the sound lounge together and separate of one another. So start with less. Less is actually more. The vibratory experience does create a detox effect in the body. Think about it. We're shaking every cell in your body. Your lymphatic drainage works on gravity and shaking, jumping up and down. It's why walking, running, jumping on a trampoline is so good, is because it helps with lymphatic drainage. A lot of people might feel pain, sick, or not feeling good in a particular part of their body, and it's really just their lymph that needs to drain. We have 500 lymph nodes in our body. So the sound lounge can help to move stuck lymph in the body. That will cause a detox effect that can show up as symptoms of the common cold, a low-grade fever. It could show up as cough or mucus, right? So a lot of times people get off the sound lounge and start to feel these feels, right? You want to talk about adverse reactions. But the reality is, it's just a very normal feeling of their body starting to detoxify something that had been held in one particular place and it now has been released. So a lot of times adverse reactions show up and it's really just a natural bodily function of releasing and letting go of toxicity. Yes.
Do you have them sign a waiver?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
Just curious.
But I'm not in practice, right? If
Right.
I was in practice, then yeah, you might want them to sign a waiver like anything else, right? It's a litigious society that we live in right now. Yeah, best practice. I'm never going to tell you not to, but when you ask if I do, we used to in the very beginning. I have some verbiage that I'm happy to share with you, but I'm not a lawyer. You want to talk to a legal professional or somebody in the insurance world as to exactly what coverage you have and what liability you need to be released from. But no, generally speaking, I don't. What we do now, as a certified vibroacoustic therapy practitioner, and I'm in session with somebody, and I'm not often in session with somebody like that, we're going to do a formal intake. I'm going to understand your history, your background, what's going on in your body. When I'm at a show, I've got the technology turned down. I'm at 50% of total power, sometimes 55 or 60%. And we're playing our music meditations, which are really general and really broad. And really it's good for everybody. I'll tell you, I had we did the bud tenders event. It was like somebody basically hired me to be in their booth. They were the title sponsor for this event, and they said, hey, I want people to get your technology in my event, and they paid me to be there for the day. And we had a line out the door for Sound Lounge sessions. We were running 5-minute demos of the technology, and I was talking to everybody online because we had literally, I was telling people it's first come, first serve, 5-minute demos. The line moves fast. If you want it, wait. And we probably had 15 or 20 people online. And it was the bud tender appreciation event. So everybody was smoking weed, everybody was high, and everybody was really chatty. And I'm just talking to everybody online. I get this guy right before he's supposed to go on, and he told me that he was pinned between a truck and a wall, and that he's probably had 30 plus surgeries in his body, and most of his body from his waist down was bionic, like nuts, bolts, like literally they rebuilt his body. He was moving just fine. Obviously, he was a big proponent of cannabis and the success that he was having in numbing his pain and body. But I said to him, I was like, why don't we start like a little lower, just being cautious of like exactly what concerns you might have. He looked at me dead in the eye and he said, turn that up. He put an expletive in there, but he basically said, I want all of it. And I said, okay, that's cool. He listened to it, 5-minute demo, 5 minutes. He made all 5 minutes of it. He was writhing and having a good time. He jumped off the Sound Lounge with the most amazing amount of energy. And he was screaming at the top of his lungs that everybody in that place needs to get on this tech because his body has never felt better. So when I think there's going to be issues, I tend to err on the side of caution, being a steward of this technology. And I certainly recommend that you do too. And at the same time, most people know their bodies and they know their outcomes. Most of the time when there's an adverse reaction not related to a condition that I just shared with you, most of the time when there's an adverse reaction, it's really a detox effect. And it's just because we're moving stuck energy or stuck lymph, and the body is actually releasing toxicity. And that shows up as what most people might think is an adverse reaction. It could show up as poor sleep that night because your body is working hard to cleanse and clean what was just pushed into the bloodstream. Other times people sleep like a baby that night. So it really depends on the individual and what they've got going on. In all situations, you got to meet people where they are, and doing a good intake and understanding where they're at is obviously going to help with that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks. That's a great question. And I've added it to my notes for next time because it's really something we want to make sure we talk about.
Craig, I have 2 questions.
Rajay, I'm ready.
What is SMR?
Oh, I knew somebody was going to ask that question. Sensory motor. I actually need to go back to the user group where I posted it. And I'm literally going into our Telegram user group and I am searching SMR and hitting enter. The sensory motor rhythm, SMR, is a brainwave. It's an oscillatory idle rhythm of synchronized electric brain activity. The frequency of the SMR is in the range of 13 to 15 hertz, has been found to strengthen focus, and is best used in the morning or if you need a shot of digital coffee.
Correct.
That was written by Dr. Patrick Porter himself, in case you didn't pick up on that. And I don't know what oscillatory idle rhythm of synchronized electric brain activity means. It's a little bit above my pay grade, but just think of it as a digital shot of coffee. And it is stimulating. When you do the SMR tracks with or without the brain tap, you're engaged the entire time. Whereas when you're doing alpha, theta, delta, or even gamma, the session sometimes goes by in a split second, or it feels like an eternity. You have kind of no concept of time. I'm very aware of what's going on when I'm listening to that 11-minute SMR track. And again, really powerful, but you're only going to find them in an 11-minute. SMR is only in 11 minutes, 66 minutes only in gamma as of the recording of this video.
Okay. And you talked a lot about the practitioner and the cushion, and the Sound Lounge, but the cushion, like, how did that come about that you decided to create a cushion?
Yeah, so we wanted a lower price point ultimately, right? We wanted a smaller footprint. A lot of the feedback that we got with the Sound Lounge and the practitioner, especially in New York City, is I don't have room for that. Like I can't fit that. So we wanted a smaller footprint. Originally, our goal was to get that cushion at a retail price of $499. With the pandemic and everything that was going on, there was just no way for us to do that profitably and still sustain our business. Even $699 is below where we really need to be. The meditation cushion's kind of a lost leader for us, gets us a lot of exposure. Obviously, it's very powerful from a mindfulness and meditation perspective. We shifted the conversation during the pandemic. We actually shifted the conversation to mental health. As we sit here on this World Mental
Right.
Health Day, it was a powerful shift from teaching people around vibroacoustic therapy. Building our business through holistic health science was really built through events. We were at three trade shows a week. We were constantly setting up the technology, traveling all over Southern California and away. We were constantly moving, and we were constantly putting people on the technology. The first 4 years that we were doing and building this business, I knew every single person that bought a sound lounge, and they had been on my tech with me or my business partner at the time, and very familiar with who they were. I think we sold like 3 or 4 sight unseen, and it was highly unusual. Today, just about a majority of our sales comes through our affiliate network or comes through online sales from people that either found an affiliate on the inHarmony Finder or came back, and just bought it. We have a 30-day money back guarantee, by the way. I'm really proud of the fact that we've only taken one sound lounge back in all of that time. We've taken one practitioner back in all of that time. We've taken a handful of meditation cushions back, mostly because people don't fit in it or they're not comfortable on it, which is obviously specific to the individual. If you buy our product and you're not happy, I'm very happy to take it back. I never want somebody to have, especially a $5,600 investment that they're not happy with. That's obviously within the first 30 days. You can't keep it for a year and then call me and say, "Hey, Craig, take this back." But we might be able to help find a second home. So there's a lot of different opportunities that you can work through. The meditation cushion was ultimately designed for a smaller footprint and to support mindfulness and meditation. I really didn't get into too much of my story, but when that meditation cushion came out, and really the sound lounge, I used the sound lounge to meditate. I used the sound lounge to drop into that deeper meditative state. And what we started to realize when we came out with the meditation cushion is that sound and frequency does help us to drop into that meditative state, that alpha and theta brainwave state. And for people that have problems moving in and out of these different brainwave states, sound, music, and vibration is really powerful. And if you can't afford a $3,600 or $5,700 sound lounge or practitioner, hopefully $699 is a little bit more in your range. By the way, we have payment plans, we have business financing. There's about a lot of different ways that you can do it. But the meditation cushion was really designed for a smaller footprint. We also, one of the things that we did with the meditation cushion that we haven't been able to do with the sound lounge and the practitioner yet is build the hardware from the ground up. So the transducers that we use, and I will have them on my next live, are made specific for us. Just about all of the transducers that we tested that you can buy rattle apart after like a week of usage. So
Wow.
we would push play, we would leave them be, we would, day after day, we would come back to look at them. And most of the time we would find a broken transducer that literally rattled apart. So our transducers are made specifically for us. They're 4 inches wide, they're really big, and they don't rattle apart. That's why we can have the warranty, and that's why I know that we're building technology that will last you a lifetime as long as you take care of it. The amplifiers that we use, there is no off the market, there is no wholesale or amplifier that we can buy that does all the things that we wanted to do, which is why the sound lounge comes with a headphone amplifier and a sound lounge amplifier. The practitioner comes with a headphone amplifier and a practitioner amplifier. There is no amplifier that does it both. The amplifier that's in the meditation cushion, because we ordered 1,000 at one time, we were able to go to an amp manufacturer and build the amp that we want. So that amp that's in the meditation cushion actually says inHarmony on it. We built that amp from the ground up. It has a Bluetooth in. It actually has 2 amplifiers in it, one for the headphones, one for the vibration and the tactile transducer. And we built it from the ground up. At some point, we will redesign the practitioner and the sound lounge. It's not going to happen in the next 12 months. We're not even working on the prototypes yet, but at some point, we will order 1,000 and make the amplifier that we want to make, and continue to innovate and build through it. So the meditation cushion is something we're really excited about. It's certainly easier for people to start with that, and many people do start with that and then graduate. And it is obviously built specifically for meditation. I will say this, having that transducer face up right underneath your root, it literally sends every vibration straight up your spine. You can feel your earlobes vibrating. You can feel your teeth chatter if it's the right distance and the right angle. It's a really powerful vibratory experience, in my opinion.
Great. Thank you.
Very welcome. Anybody else? Nobody else. Well, thank you all for staying with us for our first rendition of an introduction in harmony and vibroacoustic therapy. I appreciate all your questions. I appreciate your participation. I am excited to see you. We're going to do this the second Tuesday of every month, and we'll have something out in our Telegram group. We'll get something out to our email distribution list here towards the end of this week, so that we can look forward to next week and you can save that date. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig, so much.